So here's the first video we're going to do for surface area for you guys. The main thing is, together as a class, we've kind of hashed through how this formula works. A lot of you guys were able to develop it on your own, which is amazing. And the thing is, I just need you to be able to use it kind of forwards and backwards, and we're going to talk about that a bit today. So for the first question, or sorry, I guess I should start by discussing the formula itself. We had nailed down that it is surface area equals 2 pi r squared plus 2 pi r h, and it is two separate sections. This part here, this here is where you'd put your surface area if you knew it already, because there'll be some questions in which you know the surface area and the radius, or the surface area and the height, and you need to find the other missing part. So there's really three parts to this. This is the first one. And the second one is this, and this is for the top and bottom. Pi r squared is the area of a circle, so that when we're looking at a cylinder, there's going to be a circle on the top and the bottom. And pi r squared finds the area of that circle. 2 will give me 2 of them. So that's for the top and bottom. Now this here is for the middle, and I'm going to show you again just in case you forget how that works. We have a top. The middle is actually going to be a rectangle that is wrapped around. And just like any other rectangle, if we want to find the area, it's going to be the base times the height. What it turns out is that this circle here, when this piece gets wrapped around it, it wraps around and it ends up forming this exact circle. This bottom line is the distance around this circle, which means that this bottom line equals circumference. The way we actually write circumference a lot of the time is 2 pi r. Because we often are not given the circumference, we're given the radius instead. So that's how this part came together. 2 pi r, that's the circumference, times height gives me all of this area. So knowing that, we should be able to solve quite a few questions with this. The first question in your guys' homework is a circle, a cylinder. It looks like this, has a line that looks like that with the number 9 meters. It's a radius of 9, and we need to find the surface area. So I'm going to do my formula. Sorry, I'm not going to do my formula. I'm going to start with what I know. It's always wise to label what you know. So I know radius equals 9 meters. And I know one more thing over here has this number, which means height equals 14 meters. And now I just start with my formula. Surface area equals 2 pi r squared plus 2 pi r h equals. Now I just start subbing in numbers I know. I don't know the surface area number, so I leave that. Equals 2 times 3.14. Sorry, just give me 1 second. It's going to make it a little easier for me to write. Times 3.14 times r, which is 9 squared. So that's that first section right here. I subbed it in. 2 pi is 3.14. R is 9 squared. Plus 2 times 3.14 times r, which is 9, times h, which is 14. And again, you can see all these came from here. 2 pi is 3.14. R is 9. H is 14. So all I've done is change these symbols into the numbers that I know they actually are. Next step, I'm going to do my exponents first. 2 times 3.14 times 9 times 9 is 81, plus 2 times 3.14 times 9 times 14. All I did was copy most of that step. So, phone call. So, looking at this now, I've done a lot of copying. Now I can start doing some multiplying, but now is the time for me to mention this plus. Because of order of operations, we have to do all multiplying and all dividing before we do any addition, which means you really view these as two separate sections to solve. So I'm going to start working on this first one. I get out my calculator and I start multiplying. 2 times 3.14 times 81
Sorry for the interruption.
equals 508. 0.68 plus, and then I solve that second section the exact same way. 2 times 3.14 times 9 times 14 equals, and you'll end up with 791.28. So to make clear where this came from, all of this multiplied together was this. All of this multiplied together was this. The blue here stuff, is the top and bottom. The red stuff over here is the whole middle section. And I'm going to add those up to find my total surface area, which would be 1299.96. Centimeters squared. The question asks you to round it to the nearest unit. That would be 1300 centimeters squared. Now you're going to notice in your multiple choice the answer is 1301, and that's because they would have rounded in some of these earlier steps. For the most part, I don't want you rounding in these earlier steps.